All right, folks. Welcome back to our series on creating an animatronic horror bear using Autodesk Maya. In this episode, I believe this is episode number 10, we are going to touch up one little blemish I see here. I don't know if y'all's has it, but I do see it here. So I'm going to start with that. And then we are going to start working on the hand. I don't know if we'll finish the whole thing. We may just focus on the fingers today or in this episode, and then combine the whole hand or figure out what we're going to do with the whole hand after that. Because I think we're going to go ahead and make individual fingers that we can control with this design. Um, so we'll see. I think for sure we we'll work on the fingers first. But to get started, let's go to workspace up here in the top right. Make sure it's on general, reset current workspace. Go to File, Set Project, look for your Fred project. Then do File, Open Scene, find Fred 9. And finally, let's do a Save Scene As, and let's call it number 10. So, all right. So the first thing I want to look at is right here. Looking at this little point that's coming in there, and I think it's this piece right here. There's that kind of sharp turn there. So what I'm going to do is go back up here, make sure you are on the modeling drop down um, where it says symmetry off. I'm going to turn that to Object X. I'm going to go to vertex mode on here, and I'm going to try pulling that a little bit to the side and down to make a smoother look. Then I'm going to go to object mode, click away. Looks like there's another one somewhere, and it's probably on the back side. Yeah, it's probably that one right there. So let's go back to vertex mode. And I'm going to pull it this way a hair and maybe up a hair. And go back to object mode. Yeah, now that looks a little smoother for it. Again, we may still touch up a little bit later, but we'll see. So now we're going to start on the hand. And when I do that, I think I'm going to model out the finger that we can see the closest to us. And then we'll kind of duplicate it to put it with each of the others and scale them to size accordingly. And then I think for the next episode, we'll finish putting the hand together. So we'll focus just on fingers for this episode. So to get started, grab my cylinder tool, create a cylinder, and I'm going to bring it over in the front view to where it's above the hand. Going to scale it down pretty significantly since we're trying to make it the size of the finger. And then I'm going to move it kind of into place. Now, one thing you will notice is our hand design does not match up perfectly between them. So to start, I'm going to do a lot of my work using this as my main reference on where to position stuff. This I will simply use for the angle and kind of the location on the side, but otherwise this is going to be the front view is what I'm going to use for the length. So I'm going to kind of put that into place. And I'm also going to grab a sphere because that is what I'm going to use for the fingertip. So I get that nice smooth curve at the end. I'm going to scale that down. And I'm actually going to go ahead and take it over to here. Line it up kind of with my cylinder so I can scale it to close to the width of the cylinder and just move it to get it as close as possible on size. All right. So now I'm going to go to a bigger front view and move this over here closer to the tip. I'm going to go to face mode with it, drag a box over the faces for the top half of it. And I'm going to hit delete because we only need the bottom piece. Oh, and I'm noticing my symmetry's on. I'm going to go ahead up here where it says Object X with this drop down. I'm going to turn it to off. Go to Object Mode on the my sphere. And I'm going to rotate it into position on that fingertip. Trying to get it pretty close to there. All right, so next we're going to work on, well, actually, let's make sure they're lined up this way because I didn't even check that. On the side view, let's try to line them up this way, and we'll do it a little more here in a minute, but I want to get it kind of lined up there. All right, now I'm going to go to perspective view. I'm going to go to face mode, going to select all the faces on the bottom of my cylinder there. And then I think we'll go with the side or front view and do Control E to bring it down. And make my second segment, and we'll adjust the sizes in a minute, but trying to get kind of an idea of where it should go. All right, so I've got both of those. So now I'm going to go back to object mode, and I'm going to rotate it kind of in the position that the finger is. And you can tell it also goes from bigger to smaller as we get further down, so we'll deal with that in a minute. I'm going to go to vertex mode, select these bottom ones, drag this down to that point. Then I'm going to grab my rotate tool, rotate it some, pull it over. May have rotated a little too much, so let's rotate it back a little. Put it into position where that knuckle would be. And then finally, I'm going to hold Control and drag over those so I still have my bottom one selected. And I'm going to rotate it some more and pull it into place so that it lines up with our sphere. Go look at it from the side view. That actually lines up pretty nicely. And then in perspective, it looks pretty good. So now if I go on my cylinder, go to face mode, should select all those bottom faces. If it doesn't, just hide your sphere by pressing H and then go in there and select them all and hit delete so we can get rid of those. Then go to object mode, shift click your sphere, and I'm going to rotate the sphere just a hair towards me, trying to get those lines to line up better, which that looks pretty good. All right, so shift click the sphere and the cylinder, go to mesh, combine, and now we get to merge some vertices again. So I'm going to go to vertex mode. Oops, I'll make this bigger. I'm going to start selecting vertices and merging to center. Work your way around it. After we finish this, we're going to do a little cleanup, I think. Well, actually, we've got it pretty well cleaned up in our outliner. We'll just do some touch up on there. Just work your way around, edit mesh, merge to center as you select vertices. And with the fingers, we are going to try to rig the joints in here. We'll see if it works nicely and cleanly for us. This will probably be one of the few spots where we actually do multiple joints in the design of the rig. Most of the others we will set up in a different format for the rig, but that'll come once we get the whole model taken care of. All right, got one more. So selecting those, edit mesh, merge to center. All right, so now I've got kind of the shape of a finger. Matches that one pretty well. We're going to do a couple things to it here in a minute. But first, with it selected, I'm going to go ahead and hit this free or delete history. So it gets rid of those other elements that were still a part of it. I'm going to freeze transformations, modify center pivot, and I'm going to call this let's see, that would be his pointer finger, and that would be his left hand. So I'm going to call it L pointer finger in the outliner. Looks like everything else is kind of labeled properly. And so now let's try to finish this finger up. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to go ahead and select these faces here. I'm going to pull them up a little higher so that they're kind of tucked inside of our hand here. And what we'll do when we rig, the hand will have its own control. This chunk of the hand will be the main control for the hand. Each of the fingers will be a child of it so that they move with it, but then they'll each have their own controls as well. In case the hand comes or the fingers come slightly out of the body of the hand, I'm going to select this edge here, go to edit mesh, bevel, and I'll set it to 4 segments at 0.5, I think should be good. That way it kind of creates a nice little curve in case those come out at all. All right, so now let's do just a few things to the finger to get it a little cleaner or a little more like our example. So with it in object mode, I'm going to go to, let's see, insert edge loop under mesh tools. I'll put one up here so I can bow it out some. So once I put it, I'm going to grab my scale tool, scale it up. I'm going to slide it over so it bows out that way. Think I'm going to go ahead and put another one here. So mesh tools, insert edge loop. While it's selected, I'm going to scale it up some, bring it over. And then because I've got one there, one on the hinge and one, I'm going to put one on the other side of the hinge. And it doesn't really have to bow anywhere, but I may scale it up just some and then shift it over a hair. That way it curves a little. All right, so that is, I think, what we'll do for the finger for our character. It does, I mean, our image does have a little joint there. What I think I'm going to do to make that work, I think I'm going to go ahead and put, because we're going to try to color this entire thing using Maya. So I'm going to put another edge loop here on one side of the joint and here on the other side, and we'll do some stuff later on. Actually, let's do this too. I'm going to select that edge that's on the joint, grab my scale. I'm going to scale it in a little bit just to create the illusion of that little indentation where the finger is, or where the joint is. All right, so now I'm going to go to object mode, take a look at it from this view. I think that'll work for our little animatronics finger. So I'm going to first, on the side view, like I said, we're just going to use it for positioning on the angle. So I'm going to rotate it a little bit, put it into place, and I'm going to put it where the front one would be. Then I'm going to hit Control D to duplicate it, rename it left middle finger. It is a little bit bigger for the middle finger. So I'm going to put it into place here. And I'm going to try to scale it long ways a little bit. And in the front view, I'm going to rotate it some. Kind of match that angle that our example has. I may even scale it a little bit on the width. Let's see what that looks like. And we may have to adjust this some once we build the hand, but we can do all that at the same time. All right, then I think I'm just for this one, or I'm going to select this one again, hit Control D, move it over where the pinky would be. Let's call it left pinky finger. And I think we'll just scale it down a hair since it's supposed to be the pinky. I think the angle looks pretty good. Maybe a slight rotate. And then let's kind of look at it from the perspective view. I think that'll work for right now. All right, then finally we need to do the thumb, and I think what I'm going to do is duplicate the pinky. And I'm going to call it left thumb. I'll bring it over to where the thumb would be. Going to rotate it. I'm going to put it on rotate Z, I think. We'll see, is minus 180 enough? Then I'm going to pivot it over that way. And it should be up towards the front this time. In the side view, I'm going to rotate it to kind of get it into position. Perspective, kind of use that to help maneuver it. We're just trying to get it to look like it's facing the right way. And then I think I'm going to scale it up to make it a little thicker. I kind of want that joint right where this thumb joint would be. Might have been easier to just recreate the whole thing, but we were trying to save a little time. All right, so I think that will work for the thumb. Just try to get it into position. I'm going to select all these fingers and I'm going to just do clear history, freeze transformations, and modify center pivot. And I think we're going to stop there for this video. In the next video, we will make the hand piece. We will also do the piece that's going to connect our shoulder to our arm, or connect the body to the arm, so create that little joint there. And then I think we will also try to do the little tummy here, bring it out some to make sure he has a little spot for his tummy. Because like I said, we're going to try to color this whole thing using Maya. Um, so, all right. So I'm going to go ahead and do a file save. And I think we are in a good spot to hopefully finish the main body next video. And then that way we can start working on the head in the future videos. All right. We'll see you in the next video. Good luck.